Okay, got a little bit of different kind of video for you today. Today we're going to be doing some tree clearing. You can kind of see it through there. We'll show you through the front window. But basically, I'm starting to clear the house lot. If you saw some of the past videos, you know we've been cutting stripes. There's one that you can see right here, and there's one more path lower down the hill. But what I've been doing to try and keep the skid steer level is clearing paths that go across the hill. So I'm at a slight angle. I leveled this out a little bit, but I'm going to be working on clearing out these trees. I cut a path in, and now I'm going to just start doing a back and forth pass as we slowly clear the house site. So what is your strategy for clearing the sites? Part of the reason I'm putting these terraced rows across the hill beyond just the erosion control, which you know I think and talk about a lot, is we're still not sure exactly when we will begin building. I want to have a lot of this cleared up so that we're ready to begin building as soon as possible, but it could be another year from now. So I'd like to get as much of the small brush out of here. I'm putting in these terraces to control erosion. I will probably leave enough big trees to shade the area and let them grow a bit longer, so that, you know, basically if I have to come out here and work on foot, I'll be in the shade. My plan is to, you know, leave anything that's bigger than 10 inches or a foot in diameter, leave that standing. So I will probably have some videos of me cutting down the 10-inch and smaller trees, which can be somewhat challenging, you know, depending on where they are, how they're oriented. So I'll do a video kind of covering my strategy of how I will cut down the larger trees. The hill is so steep that I actually can't turn around in place. I mean, there's enough other trees that in general I can't just do a 360-degree turn in place. So I'm actually grabbing some soil here and kind of building up a turnaround area. As I continue to clear the lot, obviously it'll become much easier for me to just, you know, do a 360 turn on one of the terraced areas. But for now, I need a turnaround spot because I really don't have a lot of area opened up yet. This is my third terraced stripe going across the hill. I think to cover the entire build site, it's probably going to take 6 to 8 of these paths. So I'll just keep doing this day after day until I've got, you know, the whole house lot cleared off. One of the things I'm doing here is that, you know, there is a lot of light brush I can easily rip up, and I'm trying to kind of filter it out with the bucket teeth so that the pile of brush is just that. It's just brush and not dirt. So I am, you know, kind of trying to selectively lift things out and kind of filter the soil for brush a little bit here. It's hard to tell here, but as I'm taking soil and dumping it on the downhill side, I'm taking a slope that's between 15 to maybe 17 degrees, and I'm trying to get it to actually slope up the hill. So it takes a fair amount of soil and cutting to make this terrace actually slope uphill. You know, that's really what I'm trying to do to control the erosion. I want the terrace, as it goes across the hill, to actually be tilted, or the earth to be tilted up the hill, so I won't have erosion running down the hill. Even though we got some rain, you're starting to see a lot of dust there building up on the windshield, and that's just because this soil is so dry. So we did have some storms, but the heat has been pretty high. It's been pretty dry, you know, not a lot of storms, so it's pretty dusty. So as I'm doing this, I'm churning up a lot of dust and it's coating my windshield. You can actually see this through the camera better than I could see through the windshield. I was having a little bit of trouble seeing through it, but I guess that's the effect of the camera. I will do my best to put a link to the Amazon link for the camera mount I am using. It is really doing a good job holding the camera. So again, you know, I'm taking soil from the uphill side. It definitely takes about 5 or 6 scoops as I go along a path to take that downhill slope of about 15 degrees to get it to be about 1 or 2 degrees up the hill, so that when it rains, you know, no earth is going to flow down this terrace down the hill. It's all going to flow to the uphill side and hopefully soak in. And here, as we're driving along, you may notice there's a whole bunch of trees that are much smaller in diameter, and they're just cut off at about 3 to 4 feet high. We've chipped a lot of that stuff so that we can mulch it for gardens, and we'll come back, and as I'm ripping stuff up here with the skid steer and we have just the root ball left, I'll cut the top part off. The root balls will all burn, and the upper part of the tree branch or tree roots and trunk and everything, we will chip that up and mulch it and put it back into garden areas. In doing some very bad math in my head, I'm realizing my bucket's 6 feet wide, and I'll need a lot more than 5 or 6 terraces across. I think we're probably going to make this house site 200 feet across by 400 feet so that we don't have a risk of any trees falling down on the house. So I'm gonna have a lot more terraces to do. I mean, it's easily gonna be 15 or maybe even 20 terraces going across. I don't know what I was thinking. I guess the noise of the skid steer hampers my mathematical skills. Here I'm trying to separate when I'm taking out dirt versus taking out brush. So if I get a bucket that is all dirt or 99% dirt, I'm using it to help level out the terrace. And then if I get a bucket that has a lot of brush in it and branches and things like that, I am trying to push that over into a pile that we will again chip and add into mulch piles and eventually go into a garden. And as I look at that pile in front of me, sometimes you also have to realize that, you know, it just may be faster to pull some of that stuff out of there by hand and pile it up out of the way versus trying to manipulate it with the tilt bucket and you know, get it separated branches from dirt. So sometimes you just got to make a judgment call. How much of it do you do by hand, by cutting it up by hand, and how much do you move with the skid steer? So I just wanted to show you, so now I've got a flat working area going this way. It's really quite a bit downhill down here. This is actually pretty steep. I almost hit 15 degrees coming up this. This is very hard to tell. But now this part is much more flat, and so I'll just continue to work my way that way. And you can see behind the skid steer, I already cleared that part. That was the early part of the video. Now, if you look relative to the trees, you get some idea how slanted this hill is. So, still got a lot to go, but just wanted to give you a basic idea how I'm going to be going through here, taking out these little ones, and then eventually we got to come back and cut down these big ones. So, just need some working room for now. Hope you enjoy. If you've got suggestions on how to do this better, you know, I'd welcome to hear your input. Have a great day.